Welcome to my tape on basic chokes and strangles. What we're going to do throughout the tape is we're going to show you some of the basic fundamental ways of choking and strangling, and we're going to show you the differences between them. Now, I've got Wayne here, who's going to take most of the strangling and choking throughout the tape, and I'm just going to show you now what the basic differences are. Now, a choke actually cuts off the air supply to the lungs, and a strangle actually cuts off the blood supply to the brain. Now, we're going to start with basic choke, one of the better ones. This is a dakajimi, or naked strangle, and it is actually a choke because the pressure is applied against the windpipe. So important to transition from standing to groundwork. Here's a failed transition, and this is where, from the throwing action, we have separation and no chance of following through. Here we see it in slow motion. It can be any technique, throwing our opponent either forwards or backwards, but if you have separation, there's no chance. The transition, well, that's staying close, keeping contact with your opponent and being in the attacking position. So the hand stays in contact all the time. There's the throwing action, and I'm already moving behind my opponent, ready to attack. The follow through, the actual follow through is the next stage. There's the follow through, legs in, flatten my opponent out, and then the strangle or the choke. So I create space for the throw. The momentum of my opponent going over enables me then, with the contact, to come round the back, bury my legs deep inside my partner's legs and push him out, then underneath the neck and apply the choke. This fantastic competition example shows the great Koga of Japan. Fails with his shoulder throw technique, which he normally scores magnificently with, but the transition is what we're looking at here. He's got the jacket around his opponent's neck, and he's applying pressure, and he's trying to bridge out, but to no avail, because there's the submission, and he's unconscious as well. So that shows how effective the strangle was, and of course the crowd loved that. So here's the shoulder throw. Fantastic lifting action with the shoulder throw, but a great twist out there by his opponent. But now he's in trouble, and Koga follows through. He's trying to flatten his opponent out. He doesn't want him to stand up. He's already got the jacket around his opponent's neck at this stage, and takes him back down to the ground. And in order to try to avoid the movement, there's the bridge, but it's still on, and the pressure's there, and of course his opponent resists for only so long, just manages a submission there, but it's too late. A dakajimi, or naked strangle, is applied by taking my legs inside my partner's legs, flattening him out, and with the forearm then placed across the windpipe. We can then apply pressure by pushing our opponent's head downwards and stopping him from breathing. The legs play such an important role, and here we're taking the legs inside our opponent's, pushing outwards, and you can see the arch there on my opponent means that I've got him fully under control. There's the legs going through. Pull the arms forwards, push the legs back. To show absolute leg control, here you can see the legs going through, push him out, and then roll without the use of my arms onto my back. There's the legs going in, there's the flatten out, and now just a roll and controlling my partner's hips all the time. In order to be able to attack with the strangle or the choke, we need to create space. You can see there, by pushing the head to the side, it gives me space, and enables me then to take the arm underneath and across the windpipe. There's the flatten out. I use my elbow to push the head to the side there, already putting pressure on my opponent, and there's the choke to finish. Even if my opponent has hold of his own jacket at the side of his neck in order to defend, by pushing the head to the side we create the necessary space. There's the defense, but by pushing the head, there's the space, and I can dive through then and apply the choke. We've changed the angle here so you can see how the actual choke works. I want you to imagine that this is where the mat is. There's the elbow to the side of the head, and then the forearm against the throat. And there's the other variation, by applying pressure to the top of the head. That's where the mat is. So imagine your opponent is face down, the elbow comes to the side of the head, there's my space, there's the dive through, and the forearm goes against the throat. To actually apply it, here's the second variation. The arm goes a bit further round this time, and by applying pressure on top of the head gets the submission. A lot of the time you can actually push the head forward by taking the hand to the back of the head. So again, still very important to take the crook of the arm to the front of the throat, and by pushing the head forward get the submission. By controlling with my legs, taking my partner's legs out first and then rolling so that I'm face up, it then gives me a chance to sit up and apply the choke. Here's the legs going through, push them out, control with my legs, and there's the turn. Got to sit up, and then the application. Sometimes the chin can be down in defense, so in order to get through, we put our hands like a wedge and take them underneath the chin, and you can see already in pain, and then he gives it to me and the arm can go underneath and across the throat. This particular variation, although illegal in judo, still very, very effective. Chin's down, and so we use the nose in order to create enough pain and lift the chin up so that we can dive underneath and apply the choke. If our opponent goes face down and defends to the choke, then what we have to do, we make sure that we've got good control with the legs, and again using the hands as a wedge, wedging right the way down underneath the chin. But the control with the legs is so important. Try and arch the back by pushing the legs out. There's the control, there's the wedged hands, and they go underneath the chin, and there's the application of the choke. Here's a slight variation. There it's applying pressure on top of the head this time. So hand goes through, this time a little bit further, and then to apply the pressure we need to get the head going forwards. By pushing on the head we get the submission. All these variations can be performed without the jacket, and quite often it's a lot easier against people who are not used to defending with the jacket. And if you see, again, from a grappling position, I've ducked underneath the arm. There's the follow through, legs go through, push my opponent out, but not used to defending, and the arms are out, and it makes it a lot easier to come underneath for the choke. So this time with a defense, again, there's the follow through, there's the control, head away, then the choke. So important for the follow through always, and the contact. Legs straight the way through, still push them right the way back in order to arch my opponent's back. There's the head away there, that gives me space. Then the dive through, push the head down and get the submission. This time face up, and again, good control with the legs, most important. There's the roll and the sit up. There's the legs, look at them push out, right the way back. Flatten my opponent out, there's the turn, and there's the neck. An easy target. Drilling for any skill, very, very important. And to get it as precise as possible as well. Here I've got a cooperative partner. Every time I complete the movement, then my opponent sits straight back up into the start position. So the legs come over, push my opponent out. I create the space by pushing the head away. And each time completing the movement for the submission. Without a cooperative partner, sometimes you can run into difficulties and waste the repetitions. So try and make it as precise as possible. Sets of 10 is recommended. This first competition example, well, Denzine White in blue, and attempted a throw there, but straight down into a groundwork situation. There's the legs going in. And look at the hands starting to go in underneath the chin, wedging against the side of his opponent's neck, and his opponent all the time well controlled, good control, and there the submission in the end. And you can see that he was under pressure. So good control with the legs enables Denzine White to get the submission. So Loretta Doyle throws her opponent, follows through immediately, and her opponent, well, turns onto her face, which is a mistake. There's the legs going in. Now look at the hands start to work. So good control with the legs there. There's the hands going in. And her opponent, well, trying to turn away, but the control is too good. And there's the application. There's the strangle. She's got to submit. And you can see, tries to turn onto her back in order to turn away from the choke. But it doesn't work. Too much control. And look how she arches her back and pulls with the arm. And there it is, the submission. So now another fine transition from a leg grab this time, and the Russian straight onto his opponent's back. And there, now he's gone underneath an arm and he's latched onto the neck, and you can see that it's already starting to go on. There's the control with the legs, there's the application, and the inevitable submission. So you could see there he's clipped on, and he uses his right arm then to push the head down in order to get the leverage. The legs, as soon as they go in, that's what makes the difference. There they are, and there's the pressure. Huda Quamos, world and Olympic champion, immediately down there, and look at that for a classical naked strangle. Incredible throwing technique, didn't quite turn him, but his opponent, well, just almost lets him climb on his back, legs go in, the neck's already sticking up. It's just an invitation for a submission. There are many attacking positions, fighting off the back. This particular one, which is an arm strangle, triangular strangle, and it means that we've got to have an arm in as well as attacking the neck. What I do is sit up in order to make contact, pull the arm across, see my right arm already against the side of the neck, then I control with the legs, pull my partner towards me. The adjustment with the legs so important. There's the control. Now by turning to the side, pulling my partner's hips in, enables me to control the movement all the way through. There's the control of the head. Twist my hips to the side and push my partner's legs out. Then pull my partner's legs towards me and then squeeze my partner's neck from the side. Positioning with the arm, so important. As I turn my hips to the side, then the wrist comes to the side of the neck. So I've got to pull the arm downwards in order to make the contact, and that contact then made so much stronger by pulling and pushing my head against my partner's arm. This attack without the jacket, exactly the same situation, but this time I've got to make sure that when I sit up, I grip the wrist and pull the arm across. No jacket to grab hold of, but exactly the same position with the legs and the arm. This competition example shows an unusual way in. Giovinazzo, of Italy, Olympic silver medalist. And look how he's already applying the strangle. He got thrown, got scored on, but he started to apply the strangle as he was going over. And there he's got a hold down, but he's also applying pressure and gets the submission. There's the throw, and puts his hand down, almost avoids it, but now look at him dive underneath the neck. So he's got an arm in as well, and there's the pressure starting to go on. He even looks at the edge of the mat, pulls his opponent in so that the referee can't break it. There's the leg coming up, and the whole idea to get the leg out and apply more pressure to the side of the neck. The forearm at this particular moment going against the side of the neck, the head pushing against the arm, and there's the pressure. A good hold down and a very effective strangle. So a traditional Sangaku Jimmy performed with the legs, again fighting off my back. There's the leg, comes over the top of the shoulder, and to apply it I must have an arm in as well. Can't quite get the angle there to turn the triangle. Turn my hips to the side, then the foot can go behind the knee, and squeezing to get the submission. The diamond leg shape, this normally happens if we don't turn our hips. We can't get sufficient control and pressure on the neck. By turning the hips to the side enables me to do that. There's the leg over the top, and there, that's the diamond. By using my foot in order to turn my hips enables me then to get the triangle. The only difference without jackets is that instead of gripping the jacket, we grip the arm, physically grip it. Exactly the same turn in order to make the triangle though. There's the arm, control. I pull my partner's head down, send the leg over. There's the turn of the hips. Now the crook of the leg can go behind my partner's neck. So to drill it, again, repetition so important if it's done right. It must be done as accurately as possible. The diamond first, then the turn of the hips. So it's the catch, then the turn, then the triangle. There's the catch, there's the turn. If you do actually get the diamond, then it's up to you to make sufficient adjustments in order that the full Sangaku can be applied. This particular choke can also be performed off our back by catching the opposite lapel of our opponent, and by sitting up, the forearm goes against my partner's throat. Then by taking hold of the top of the head and pulling forwards, it applies the choke. This leg strangle can be applied by taking the right thumb into the side of the neck and once again turning the hips in order that the free leg on the outside can slip nicely over the top of my opponent's neck. By pushing downwards, we get the submission. Here's a great competition example of this exact move. Again, the Brazilian fighting off his back, and there it is, leg over the top. His opponent's trying to pull away from it, but no chance, and he gets the submission. And doesn't he look pleased about that? He looks to be in danger, likes to fight off his back though, and that can be a dangerous thing. There's the lapel grip, there's the leg over the top. Needs to get the head down. As soon as the head goes down, the strangle goes on. And of course his opponent tries to get up, stand up to break the contest, but doesn't succeed. And the Brazilian wins the match. There it is, there's the submission. This spine lock is an illegal judo move, but nonetheless very effective. Just by sitting forward and cupping my partner's neck, by taking the elbow around the back of it and then sitting back, applies pressure to the spine and the throat. So the hand position, very important. Send the arm past our opponent and then the hand actually goes across my opponent's throat. There's the catch of the head. Once we've got the head and the throat, by leaning backwards, we get the inevitable submission. There's the hand across the throat. There's the catch. Got to sit forward first. There's the wrist. And then the neck lock. Again, easy to perform this without the jacket. And this time you can really see the stretch on the spine. The catch exactly the same, gripping my partner's arm this time. There's the control of the neck and the lean back. This particular strangle has to be performed with a jacket. As you can see, I use one of my hands to feed the jacket into the other one. Then I take the jacket around my partner's neck. There's the feed. Now there's still a gap, so I have to slide the hand right the way underneath my partner's chin, take hold of the opposite lapel and pull downwards to apply the strangle. This time, from a turn, there's the feed, catch hold of the opposite jacket and exactly the same application. So I catch my partner's lapel, try and turn my partner over, and that's going to be my feed hand. I control with the legs, there's the feed, try and get the hand right the way underneath my partner's chin. Sliding the collar, so essential for this particular technique. No contact there, pull it down, then I have contact underneath the chin. There's the catch. Now I pull it down and slide my hand right the way up. Now it's tight. Catch the opposite lapel and pull downwards, and on it goes. In order to get more leverage from this particular strangle, it's sometimes important that we take the leg over the top of the shoulder. There's the catch. Now the leg's over the top of the shoulder. Let's have a look again. I catch the lapel and start the turn. That's my feed hand. I feed my hand into the other one, to the top of the neck. My partner's starting to roll away, so now I take the leg over the top of the shoulder. Now what I want to do is bring him back and stretch out to apply the strangle. Again, very important to drill it, but we've got to make sure that every one of the drills is as similar as possible. There's the first one. Partner comes back onto all fours into the start position, leg over the top. There's the feed and the application. Hand underneath, catch the lapel, legs under control all the time, hand over the top. Same position every time. As soon as my partner rolls in towards first of all, then my leg comes over, take my partner away, and I've got to engage with the body to apply the strangle. There's the leg over, there's the feed and the catch and the finish. Again, 10 repetitions is recommended, but keep them as similar as possible. So the great Yoshida of Japan, fantastic throwing technique, and his Canadian opponent knows that, so almost gets thrown there, but the follow through and the transition, absolutely incredible. And he's already got the neck there, he's got the jacket, and now the legs over the top in order to get leverage. And look at him arching backwards, applying the pressure, and there's nothing that Keith Morgan can do other than submit. So again, transition was the key. Great ankle sweep there, and the follow through. He's already got the neck, using his right arm to feed the jacket through, and there it is. The pressure goes on, and the Canadian tries to turn out of it, can't. There's the leg over the top, and now Yoshida wants to apply more pressure, so the leg comes over the top of the shoulder and then connects with his body by leaning backwards. So he's got the strangle. You can see the grimace there on Keith Morgan's face, and the determination from Yoshida in order to get the submission. Look at the control with the legs all the way through. So the final of the European Championships, and Loretta Doyle of Great Britain throws Gal of Holland and follows through immediately. Look at the feed there that she gets. Legs coming over the top to get the leverage, and the strangle's on all the time, and the Dutch girl can do nothing about it. She's trying to defend. It's the final of the Europeans, and you can see now how on it was, because Gal is unconscious. So that's how effective it can be. Fantastic transition there from Doyle, straight in with the legs. She gets the space that she wants, straight the way through, feeds the jacket through. There's the feed, right the way up underneath the chin. Gal tries to put the chin down, but it doesn't quite work. There's the leg coming over the top of the shoulder. The leverage there all the time that strangle is on. And as it goes on just one step too far, Gal of Holland goes unconscious, and Doyle wins the European title. So a deadly strangle applied from a different angle maybe, and a slight variation, but very effective. Udo Qualmals of Germany, world and Olympic champion, almost slow motion there, moving into this, but nevertheless just as effective with his legs. There's the control with the legs, there's the feed through with the jacket, tries to control the arm as well to stop the defence, and his opponent, well, trying to defend by bringing the hand up to the side of the neck, but it's already on, and he gets the submission. There's the control, there's the feed. Already he's feeding the hand through, so using one hand to feed through to the other. Then he uses the jacket to pull it underneath his opponent's neck, and then look for the leg. There he is taking the arm. That was the defence. Now the leg comes over the top. There's the leg, then leans back. By leaning back, gets so much more power, and the final lean back is the one that gets the submission and wins in the match. There's the submission, and a great example. So this has got to be the best example of being persistent in a groundwork situation. Pirantosi of Italy, former world champion, and good groundwork, likes to take her opponents down, and here she is feeding the jacket through. You can see there that the hand is underneath the chin. Sometimes the girl, to try and avoid it, is turning onto her back, so The hold down is almost imminent. Firentosi tries to control the arm as well. Now, she's thrown the hips forwards, and there's the hold down again, and again the girl turns out, but still can't stand up. Now, the legs come over the top this time. Can she get more leverage? Still can't get sufficient leverage. Still trying to feed it through. Obviously not quite underneath the chin. And that's what she wants to do, be underneath the chin. There's the submission in the end. And what a persistent technique that was from a very persistent world champion. It's all about leverage. She had the basic movement, but her opponent, good defense, kept moving away from it. But in the end, she had to submit. So this transition, a bit messy, but nevertheless very sharp. The Korean straight on the Brazilian's back, and the feed there with the hand already happening. Trying to control with the legs, the Korean, leaning back to get the leverage. And he's got the neck, leg going over the top, and if he gets the leg over the top, then he gets the submission, and that's what he wanted. So pulls his opponent off balance, straight the way around the back. Has to get the legs in order to flatten his opponent, stop him from standing up. He's already feeding the jacket through at this stage. One arm underneath his opponent's armpit, and the other one is around the neck. Now what he's got to do, he's got to get that leg over the top of the other shoulder, and then he can lean back. At the same time, he's going to pull the hand underneath his opponent's neck to apply the strangle. Here the leg goes over the top. Now he's going to lean back. There's the leverage, and of course the submission. This is an amazing example of transition. Chang-Soo Lee of North Korea against Alexander, the Olympic champion. So no slouch down there, but Chang-Soo Lee, so cool. He's got the strangle, and now look how cool he is. He sits forward, he can't get enough leverage. He's caught hold of the opposite jacket in order to pull his own hand to the side of Alexander's neck. And the inevitable submission at the end. Alexander stayed there just too long, hooks the arm, somersaults over to get into position. An amazing way into it, and now he's got the neck, he's got hold of his opponent's arm so he can't roll away from it, and he's leaning back using his whole body in order to apply the strangle. Not happy with that, he sits forward, readjusts himself. It's not quite right, so he sits forward, then feeds the other jacket and pulls his own hand into the side of Alexander's neck. Now watch the arch. There's the arch, and the legs going over the top, and the squeeze, and of course the submission. Brilliant stuff by Chang-Soo Lee. It's kata hajime, or chicken wing. Very similar, using the left hand to feed the jacket through, but this time by taking the other hand behind the neck. At the same time, it's important that we capture one of our opponent's arms in order to stop him from rolling away from it. Here, from the double lapel turn, there's the feed and the strangle. There's the catch of the jacket. That's always going to be our feed. We start the roll, leg goes over for control. There's the feed, and the arm goes round the back of the neck to push it forward to apply the strangle. Here's the catch. There's the space and the catch of the lapel. Without this, very difficult to apply the strangle. We pull on our opponent's collar, lift him up. There's the feed of the jacket. There's the pulling action and the start of the technique. If our opponent's got his chin down, it's sometimes very difficult to make contact. By taking the wrist bone against our opponent's chin, and then by moving the hand to the side and up, we can then make contact and start the strangle. The hand then goes behind the head and tightens the whole thing up. As soon as the hand goes behind the head, we use the hand to push the neck forwards, and then by leaning back, the strangle comes on. By taking the leg over the top, this is where we get the leverage that we're talking about, and also brings our body into play. Here's the full turn. There's the catch. There's the turn. One leg's over already. There's the feed. Hand comes over the top of the head, and then the leg comes over the top of the arm, and then the leverage back applies the strangle. There's the hand coming up around the back of the neck, almost applied. Now it is, as soon as the neck goes forward. Again, to drill it, very, very important that we make it as precise as possible. There's the feed, leg coming over the top, and the leverage as well. And also very, very important that my opponent comes straight immediately back into the start position. There's the turn, there's the feed, there's the leg over the top. And try, if you can, to get into the same position every time, and make sure that you get positive feedback from your opponent on how it feels when it's applied. Sets of 10 recommended, but make them as accurate as possible. These drills really do make the difference between success and failure. So this competition example shows, well, a poor attempt at a throw there by a South African and a good quick follow through. He's already got the neck, and look at the arm going round the back there to get the final pressure to finish the technique. He knew he'd made a mistake, but he kept his neck up, always a mistake, so dangerous. And of course the Romanian took advantage of that. The pressure already on the neck from the jacket. Now all he's got to do is get leverage, and he does that by taking the arm round the back of the neck, pushing it forwards, and look at the control with the legs too. Just the squeeze and the finish. Udo Qualmals, Germany, world and Olympic champion, always impeccable down there, and look at the control with the legs, and a beautiful technique. Control with the legs all the time. He's already got the jacket around the neck, and now once he turns his opponent, there's the arm around the back of the neck, pushes on top of the head to get the final leverage. So Kozratov of Russia in the red belt, and straight on top of his Canadian opponent there, and he looks in pain already. There's the arm coming over the top, and he looks for the jacket, and he's got it, and then to get the leverage he throws his hips forwards and gets the submission. So not a very good attack there. Again results in a ground attack, and the Russian straight on top. He looks for the neck, dives round the neck, catches hold of the jacket, there's the catch, and now to get leverage he's got to change his position. Feeding his hand through all the time, using it in a wedge situation, and now he throws his hips through, and to relieve the pressure the Canadian tries to turn onto his back, but it's already on. Brilliant stuff. Thank you for watching the tape on basic chokes and strangles, and I hope that you got something out of it. Don't forget though, what the key is. It's repetition.